What are we expecting, first off, today at his pro day? What should we be looking for?
Yeah, so we'll see a little bit of Mac Jones today. They've got their first pro day today and then another one a week from today on the 30th. We're told that Mac will throw a little bit today starting at 2 o'clock. You can watch that on the SEC network. And that he will throw about 35 to 40 balls today. So not as much as you would expect on a full pro day, but that he will make up for that next week. And we'll see the majority of that work come on that second pro day next Tuesday.
All right, so that's what to look forward to today. But at the end of the day, the body of work is sitting in front of us, and we've all seen it and can go back and look at the tape. So knowing him as you do, what stands out about Mac Jones?
You know, it's interesting because before I came to ESPN, I was working in local TV in Jacksonville where Mac Jones played his high school ball, and he played for the winningest high school football coach in Florida football history. So he comes from that breed of being competitive, and a lot of those draft punch words that stand out throughout draft season in strong leadership, being patient, putting the work in, being cerebral, having natural timing. Those are things that they were using to describe him when he was a junior and senior in high school. You fast forward to the 2020 season after sitting behind Jalen Hurts, sitting behind Tua Tagovailoa, waiting his term, studying with the way those guys were running that Alabama offense. You saw him win over complete trust of that Alabama offense, and not only do that, but run it efficiently. So he has sort of that it factor that you talk about when it comes to a quarterback and the kind of leader that you want them to be.
But of course, he is aware, as everyone else is, of the question people will raise. And we brought it up there in the piece. People say he doesn't play football the way they play it in the NFL right now because of his lack of mobility. When people bring that up to him, Alyssa, what does he say?
You know, I can't imagine that he's too concerned by that, Greeny. You look at the numbers and they're there. He did exactly what Alabama asked him to do last season, and he did it well. Style-wise, of course, this isn't one of the quarterbacks that we're used to seeing from over the last couple of years, but you mentioned that comparison to Tom Brady in your piece. I can't imagine there would be a better quarterback to want to be compared to, especially in the pre-draft process, than Tom Brady. One of the other things is if an NFL team, I think, can kind of recreate that offense that Alabama ran from a standpoint of having those weapons around him, they're going to be in good shape. You look at these receivers that he was working with at Alabama, who we will see today. They not only rave about playing with him, but they were hauling in record numbers as well. So I think that bodes well for Mac Jones.
Yeah, again, basically over the last year and a half, he played with 4 first-round wide receivers in Henry Ruggs and Jerry Jeudy, and 2 who will go this year in Waddle and Smith. So we will see. Alyssa Lang, again, we'll look forward to your coverage of this, the Pro Day today on the SEC Network a little later. Thanks for getting up with us here. Let me bring Kiper and company back in here, Mel and Dan and David Pollack. And Mel, I'll start with you. The mobility is the key. I mean, that's what it's all about, because if this was 20 years ago, we'd be talking about Mac Jones in the discussion for the first pick in this draft. But football has changed that much. How much of a concern is it, the perceived lack of mobility? Mel?
Well, you know, he's not a dual-threat quarterback. He is who he is, and people say he's a dinosaur. Dinosaurs are quarterbacks who can't move and can't, you know, obviously affect the game with their legs. But I look at Tom Brady at age 43, still winning a Super Bowl, which Drew Brees was able to do at age 41. So this notion that you can't be effective with that style of quarterback is ridiculous talk. Yes, you'd like to have a quarterback who can do more things, but do you have to? That's why Tom Brady was a late 6th-round pick. And everybody says, how can you compare him to Tom Brady? I'm not comparing him to Tom Brady now. I'm saying when Tom Brady came out of Michigan, it was the same concerns. That's why I say the 3 things, guys, you should care less about that make no sense when you talk about quarterbacks and don't even factor into the evaluation. Number 1, pro days. They're a waste of time for quarterbacks. I don't even care about watching them or seeing them. 40 times for quarterbacks make no sense to even worry about. And vertical jumps for quarterbacks you can throw out the window. So those are 3 things that people talk about. Pro days, verticals, and 40s that for quarterbacks have never defined what type of quarterback they will be when they transition from college to pro.
Whatever question I asked, please remind me to ask it again, because that could not have gone better. Dan Orlovsky, let's come to you on that. The fact that he doesn't run the way not only a lot of NFL quarterbacks do, but basically the other 4 quarterbacks in this first-round class, how much does that matter, Dan, to you?
Very little. Greeny, we're talking about Mac Jones' mobility like we're talking about you on a football field right now. Like, we're making it sound like he can barely walk on the field, okay? I completely agree with Mel. The reality, you have to ask yourself this question. Is he good enough in all those other attributes to make up for the inability to run a 4.5? Is his timing elite? Is his arm strength fantastic? Does he have great ball placement? Is his thought process pre and post snap so good that he's going to play fast and faster than his feet, so to speak, play on the speed-wise? And the answers for all those are yes, and that's what I've been saying. That's why I say he has the best tape, because he plays really fast. I completely agree about the pro day. Mac Jones, I'm paying you $30 million to drop back and put on 30 pounds of football pads, get hit by a 300-pound man in your chest, throwing the ball 18 yards downfield in a 6x6-inch box, really accurately. Why do I care what you look like in shorts? Okay, so watch his tape and figure out, can you get him to play at a high level in the NFL?
David Pollack, how about you? Again, on Mac Jones and this factor in this evaluation, because this is going to make a lot of difference as far as how the entire first round of the draft looks.
Again, if you're making a quarterback, you would love to have the second play ability. Like, as a defense, you defend the first play, and you get back in your spots, and you take away that first play. Well, so many of these quarterbacks have the ability to hit you with the second play. When you get in the red zone, to be able to hit you with the zone read and make life exceptionally difficult on you. It makes his job a little bit harder. When you're an immobile quarterback and you're a pocket passer, it's easier to play defense. There's a reason the game has shifted and morphed in that direction, because it's an absolute pain in the butt to have to deal with somebody's wheels. So I understand we all have our strengths, weaknesses, but it's just a box that you can't check, that you can't make the defense defend. So you have to take that into account when I'm weighing it against everybody else. And it's a real concern when you're talking about developing an offense and being dangerous at every level, at every phase.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.